Happy Tuesday and a 2024, everyone. Welcome into the News 10 Plus desk. I'm Taylor Gattoni, in case you forgot. And we have Justin Bradford.
Hello,
Also, it's not just Justin Bradford, it's Justin Bradford's birthday today.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Woohoo!
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I get a little peanut gallery clapping.
Speech. We want a speech.
I got a forecast. You know, it's always
nice.
fun getting a year older, right? Everybody has a good time doing that. Yeah, no, we're looking forward to hopefully a great year. I always love personally having the birthday coincide with the start of the year, only being a day apart, because it's easy for me to take those core memories and everything from childhood and then young adulthood and eventually now starting to get old, where again those all just kind of go together. It's easier to remember when certain things occurred. I remember how old I was, all that. So I've always thought that was pretty cool. And of course, people who do or don't know, I've also got a baby boy on the way, expecting in June, and so we're very excited about that. So I'm really happy to look forward to what 2024 has in store.
So that will be a very big belated birthday present for you when he comes.
Exciting times, yeah. We're all very happy. The family's stoked, and couldn't be happier over here. So we're just now hoping for everything to go safe and smooth, and that's about all you can do. So that's what we're looking forward to in the new year mainly.
Oh yeah, well we want updates, of course. We've been getting the updates here and there, so.
Right, absolutely.
All right, well, looking forward to a great 2024.
Yeah, no doubt.
Awesome. Well, and honestly, if we take a look outside right now, it was not looking like this a little bit earlier, at least in some parts of mid-Michigan.
Right. Yeah, no, we got at least into a little bit of sunshine right now. You can see this is a live look at our sky cam out over Mason, where, again, we're seeing some of the blue sky, and that certainly is nice to have. Not everybody is currently enjoying the sunshine across mid-Michigan, though. A few of us are now off and into the clouds across the area, including the Capital City Skycam, as you can see right here. Of course, these are all on the Meridian Company Skycam network, and the numbers, well, they're back above normal, even if just barely. 33 degrees. Our normal daytime high is about 31, 32. So yesterday we ended up right around where normal is, but we've still been cracking 30 degrees, something we've been doing even throughout December, which was very mild. We didn't have to worry much about getting to those numbers because we were usually well above them. But even though it's above freezing outside right now, tell that to anybody who's been out and about in that breeze we've got going. It's 10 to 15 miles per hour is out of the southwest, but at times the gusts are topping 25 like they did in Lansing at the top of this 2 o'clock hour. What that does is it takes these numbers, which are right around the freezing mark, give or take a degree or two, and it flips them to make it feel more like the 20s, and we've even at times had a few teens out there when the wind does pick up. And so just be mindful out there today if you're walking around. You want that extra layer for sure. Of course, the air is not warm when you're in the mid-30s for the high, but we're going to be feeling like the mid-20s likely most of the day. So that's kind of what we have moving forward here for the rest of our afternoon. In the meantime, though, we can take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast, which once again is just showing a few of those peaks of sunshine, but we'll get back to clouds this evening and into the overnight. I think we're dry through midnight. After that point late, we might bring down a few snowflakes. We're not going to see anything stick, so I don't plan to show a snowfall forecast or anything like that because I don't think you'd even see trace amounts popping up. This is all going to be very, very light flurries that pretty much melt on contact with the ground, both late tonight and tomorrow. You can see those popping up here in the hour by hour. Again, they're really not amounting to anything. I'll get highs to around 34, 35 tomorrow, so we're once again, like today, back just barely above normal. But then we're going to have a little bit of a change headed into the late week. We are going to dry things out heading into Thursday, so we don't have to worry about the flurries. You see, there's even a good deal of sunshine on Thursday, but we start with temps in the low 20s. The north wind is going to make it feel like the teens, maybe in the early morning lower teens to even high single digits. And then as we get into the afternoon, we lose the numbers off the map here, but Thursday's highs may end up staying in the 20s. If that does happen, it'll be the first time we've done that this year, of course, since we're only going to be a couple days in. But we really didn't deal with that at all in December. In fact, we didn't have any days in Lansing that stayed shy of 30. That's the coldest that we were. So it'll be certainly the coldest since then. We did have a 29-degree high in November, and we had a few of them last spring in some of the colder parts. But you got to go all the way back to February 17th. The last time we had temperatures that were a forecast high that were less than 29 degrees, and that was February 17th. We were 26. Every other day since then has been 29 or warmer, which is really kind of unbelievable. It's hard to believe that it's been, I mean, obviously your summer, you're not going to have that cold of a high, but to not have it in the spring. And even so far this season, every day has been above 30 degrees, other than that one day in November, which was 29. So again, to be at a point where we're going to have one of our coldest days in, well, if it stops at 28, the coldest day in over 320 of those days, that's very impressive. We know normally in February, March, and even sometimes in April, we can get highs that are less than 29. Last year, we never did that. We just miled it up pretty fast. We had a fairly tame summer. We had some constant, steady warmth. I wouldn't really call it a really hot summer, but we definitely had some heat, and we're far from that now, of course, now that we're in January. And this forecast, as you look at the 10-day, not quite as mild as December was, but we do have a 40-degree forecast high currently for next Tuesday. That's also when our next larger system works into mid-Michigan. In the meantime, we got just very small chances for a few snowflakes on Wednesday, tomorrow, and then again on both Saturday and Sunday. None of these days are days where I think the weather is going to have a big impact on travel or whatever's going on in the area. You notice lows are in the 20s almost every night, and the highs are in the 30s almost every day, with the exceptions being Thursday and then next Tuesday, and each of those only miss the 30s by 1 degree. So not a lot of change here as we head into mid-January, although I do have to mention these numbers are above normal, so the 10-day temperature trend shows that. Average high is 32. It'll be 31 by the end and almost 30 by the end of this 10-day temperature trend. And all these numbers are above it. You see the one outlier really coming in that's noticeable is Thursday. Of course, Tuesday a little warmer at 40 than some of those other days, which are mid to upper 30s. But Thursday is going to be the one day this week that comes in the coldest of the bunch. And once again, it's the only one that doesn't make it above the freezing mark, which, again, pretty impressive even here in January. Even though these numbers aren't as warm as they were in December by any means, we are still just constantly above average, and that's a trend that looks like it's going to continue for the foreseeable future, at least through the next 10 days, with, again, Thursday coming in as the only exception. And so that's sort of what we got looking forward to here in the forecast. Those folks who are hoping to see the ground coated in some snow and be able to enjoy some of that, unfortunately, those snow lovers of you who are out there, I don't have great news for you. While we are going to see a few of those flakes fly once again on Wednesday and then also possibly Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have to see what happens with next week's system. Because if that one does take a track, which is more southerly, and we do get into some of the snowier sides of it, we could throw down a couple inches of snow sometime next week that would coat the ground. But, of course, that is still 7-8 days from now. So, that's still ways out. Things can change and usually do, and so we're keeping an eye on it. That 40-degree forecast high, though, would prevent a good amount of snow from sticking if it holds, and we'd have more of a mix of rain and snow. But, we'll see how everything shakes out. It could also go the other way. The system could go north, and we could get into all rain next Tuesday. One thing we do know is it looks like high confidence that we do get some sort of system early next week to settle in. Until then, though, weather's fairly quiet, other than a few flakes here and there, which, again, are not sticking. It's going to look pretty dull and mundane for just about every one of these days except Thursday, oddly enough, which, again, is the coldest day, but it's also the sunniest one, too. And so you kind of get a blend of everything there. So that's the forecast, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. 2024, hard to believe we're already here, but, here we are. Practice writing those dates. We know that that's usually sometimes hard to do. You get into the new year, if you're someone who writes the date down often, it's not 23 anymore. You got to go one digit up, right?
I was ranting to Justin after News 10 Today at 11 because I said, thanks for joining our first News 10 Today at 11 for 2023. We ended the newscast, and I went, wait a second. We're in 2024. So it's okay.
If any of you watched and you caught that, this is the time to rectify that, so there we are.
You get stuck in the previous years, like Justin said, you write down the wrong date and you just have a little brain fart, and then you have to get it back together.
It happens. You're going out of one year into the next, flip the numbers, easy to do.
All right,
no problem.
Well, it's actually not a bad start to the year. And again, going back to the forecast, like you said, it's very quiet. I know I was talking to Darren yesterday when I filled in for Seth and Maureen, and we were saying the month of December in itself was also relatively quiet and very little precipitation. So the fact that we are getting more of those chances, and not significantly, but we are seeing that in the forecast here, that is good news. We do want to see some snow this time of year, especially in Michigan.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's obviously we have lots of businesses in the area and lots of folks in general who appreciate and maybe even need the snow, certainly to help out. But it's just kind of one of those winters. We were talking about the El Nino winter and what happens in that we tend to have warmer, drier conditions. That's held true thus far to this point.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like that pattern's breaking in the next 2 weeks. In fact, the long-range outlook for the entire month of January, I don't have a map for it right here.
How's
We'll
that
maybe try to get something made up for the later shows, but it's still looking like the same trend, looking like a little warmer than normal.
Okay.
And a little drier than normal, which means less snowfall, any type of precipitation. It also means that we stay just above normal. And so even when we do get those systems, instead of just knowing, oh yeah, we're going to get snow with that system that comes, it's like, oh, well, we might get a little rain or we might get all rain instead of just snow. And when that happens, it's tough to stack snow up too. And so one thing is for sure, whether you do like it or don't, it does look a little duller outside without snow on the ground.
Yeah, it's so like brown and bleh.
Yeah, and it's nice to have, at least from a visual standpoint. I know you don't have to drive in the snow, you don't have to drive in the ice.
That
so
is
that's
nice.
good. That's a good reason not to have it, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind us getting maybe a nice like 4-inch snow or something sometime.
Yeah, well, when it's just stick season, it doesn't look great. You need that snow to give it the magic, if you want to put it that way.
Get a nice 4-inch snow at a time of night when it won't affect too much travel. And then once it's all plowed, moved out of the way, the roads are good. You get those salted, cleared, we get a little sunshine. Then you get the nice bright reflection off the snow. All you got to do is wear your shades and everything, and you're all good to go.
Perfect.
So, I mean, that would be nice. And then we'd at least hopefully get the snow to stick around for at least a little bit. I know you said earlier, even a week at this point to have it on the ground would be nice to have. Make it feel more like the winter time, because so far, and a lot of folks at home probably agree, whether, again, you do like it or don't, it hasn't really looked or even felt like winter so far. And so very slow start to the season so far. The most snow that we got in any one day, I believe, was Halloween. Yeah. Oddly enough, in the fall, before the winter even started. And so that's kind of just where we're at. Tail of the tape, this forecast is the El Nino year is holding true. It's warmer, it's drier, and there's just not much snow out there at all to speak of. And so we'll see if we can change the pattern as we get into late January. But right now, just not really looking like it.
All right, well, to keep track of the forecast, and if we get any more chances for snow or even just rain, like Justin was saying, if we have one more time, the 40 degrees coming next Tuesday, even though we get those chances of showers, yeah, with the 40 degrees, it might be a little tricky. So download the First Alert weather app if you don't have it already, not just for the forecast, but also traffic alerts if you get those showers.
Of course, and you'll also notice if you do open the First Alert weather app, it has gotten a little bit of a minor makeover, mainly just aesthetic. It's still the same great product, but you'll notice if you open it up, if you've had it updated on your phone, it's got a little bit of a different kind of track to it. Yeah, we've updated the logo a little bit.
I did notice that, and I didn't know if my eyes were playing a trick on me.
Nope, it's got a nice updated, clean look. I really like the little blue backsplash that we have for it too. And so if you're a person who cares about those things and likes that, pretty nice aesthetically pleasing update to the logo for you. So we like to have that. Of course, the product is still the same. It's the best in mid-Michigan. It's the most accurate forecast, and you can get everything you need to know about it at a very user-friendly place. And again, if you don't have it downloaded, it's a new year, it's a new you. Best thing to do is go there, download it for free. Absolutely easy to do. And of course, we love to make sure that you have the latest up-to-date First Alert forecast.
Yeah, and it's not just got the revamped look to it, but it also has the same great tools on there, no matter if it's hour by hour, satellite, just our overall forecast, and the video is from our meteorologists. If you want to interact with them a little bit, have them make the forecast come alive, then go check it out, because it's a great tool to have if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the forecast.
And the updates are just so readily available and frequent that you can never really miss out. You know, you're never really sitting there and saying, oh, Justin's on here and this forecast is 16 hours old. It's not, because Andy will come in and update it, and then Darren will update it, and then Colton will update it, and then I'll update it. It just goes around and around. So you never go more than a couple hours without a new video being posted with all of the latest info. And so you're always in the loop. You know, and you always get the latest and greatest information.
All right. Yes, I agree with that. And I use it all the time. I use it this morning. I used it in Florida, actually, when I was down there with my family. My parents were questioning why it's colder in Florida and warmer in Michigan. I actually had to explain the whole El Nino pattern with them.
I know.
Yeah, they weren't happy about that. So.
No, and you know, Darren was down in Florida on a well-deserved vacation last week as well, and it was funny because he would wake up and I would say, and I'm not going to reveal exactly where he was, but the temperature there was only about 4 or 5 degrees warmer than Michigan on the morning of Christmas.
Yeah.
And so
it was warm here Christmas Day.
Oh, it was. So take that for what you will.
Poor Darren.
Yeah, I think he said one morning he woke up, it was in the 30s in this place in Florida he was at. I think he was a little further north in Florida.
Oh,
but still, I think it's
30.
like it was there. We never drop below 40 here around Christmas time, so there might have been some mornings we were warmer than the folks down south.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Which is weird to think about.
Darren needs another vacation.
You book a nice vacation to Florida, and that's what you get. So.
Yeah, well, there you go. He'll take another one, I'm sure. There you go. Get him out.
Yep.
Go have fun, Darren.
Yeah, got to use that time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well, it is time to share what we have coming up today during First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news. I'll preview Studio 10 in just a little bit, but Nicole is very, very busy today. But here's what you can expect during First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news today. So getting into the new year, of course, many people taking that holiday break for the New Year's. And so, almost fell off my box there. I don't know if you just saw that. But in place of Mid-Michigan Matters today, we're airing a story on the lack of funding for childcare across the country and really the impacts that this is having on families across the country and some of the steps that they're trying to take or resolutions to really help out families who need to put their children in childcare, whether you're going to work or maybe you just don't have the help that you need. Putting your child into childcare is crucial, and I'm sure, Justin, when your son does come, and you said June, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that you'll be having some knowledge on. There you go. We'll prepare you for that.
I hope to learn. I'm going to have to watch First at 4.
There you go. Yes.
Figure some stuff out here.
Good place for that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you see on News 10 at 5 and 5:30, we are talking about Michigan Wolverines. Going to go get that national championship title after beating Alabama 27-20. And they're taking on the Washington Huskies. That is coming up when again? That's coming up soon,
They're
this
going to
weekend,
have a
right?
good test. It's going to be on Monday evening.
Oh, Monday,
and
there you go.
Michigan with J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, and the whole squad going to take on a pretty strong and also undefeated Washington Huskies team who are the now only 2 undefeated teams left. The other 2 undefeated teams, Liberty and Florida State, lost in their bowl games, meaning that they are now the only 2 undefeateds in college football. How appropriate and fitting that they be for the national title. But you know what? The Wolverines are going to have their hands full. Michael Penix Jr., great quarterback. He's a guy who's had 2 ACL surgeries, one on each one. And a great story for him, but obviously Jim Harbaugh coming back to Michigan. That's been his goal all along since returning to college. We got a whole lot to talk about. Nicole and I are going to break it down actually at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more to say about it. So if this is interesting to you, make sure to tune in at 3. We're going to have a lot of discussion about that. And, of course, we'll get Tim's perspective. We'll get all sorts of looks at sports with that, too.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Like he said, Studio 10, of course, will have a lot more coming up on Michigan football and what's ahead for them. So make sure to tune in today at 3 o'clock. And this is the first full one of Studio 10, right? Coming back into the new year?
It is, yeah.
There you go. All right, so make sure you tune in 3 o'clock. That's in about 40 minutes here. But like Justin was saying, we also have more coming up, News 10 at 5 and 5:30. Of course, Tim Stout will have Michigan's epic win over Alabama last night, moving into the national championship game against Washington, And then News 10 at 5:30, we actually sent Justin Kent all the way to Ann Arbor so he could get more reaction from the fans in Ann Arbor, talking to, the different bars, the restaurants. I'm sure they were very busy. But yes, very tough assignment for Justin today, I'm sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, but that'll be a lot of fun. And, of course, recapping Michigan fans' wins. Or Michigan, yes, the reaction to that. There you go. Yep, all of that good stuff. I said it too fast.
For sure.
But, yeah, tune in News 10 at 5:30. And then coming up today, News 10 at 6, you've heard of electric vehicles with personal cars and even school buses. Well, now an Upper Peninsula garbage truck manufacturer has just created its own electric garbage truck line. Isn't that interesting?
It is, yeah. That's pretty cool.
I know. That is really interesting. Electric garbage truck. Well, if you do want to learn more about that, that is coming up today, News 10 at 6. But, of course, we do want to give a little preview to Studio 10 in just a second here. I'm going to pull in Riley Connell, who's going to give you an update into what she has coming up today during our 90 minutes of news. So give me just a second to take this down. And we will welcome in Riley. Happy New Year, by the way. I feel like I haven't seen you.
I know, it's been a while. People have been off around Christmas, off around New Year, so we all are now coming back together, our little News 10 family, to see each other after the holidays.
Wonderful.
I know, I miss my friends like Taylor at work, so
and you
miss
look
getting
good.
to do this.
You got
Well, thank you.
the
Yes,
whole
I
new
did
look.
get a little bit of a trim. So
I like it.
It's still
Fresh.
me if you're watching at the 90 minutes and you're saying this is somebody new. It's not.
New
It's just
year,
bangs, the power of bangs.
Same you, different look.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And coming up today, we're talking a little bit about some of that, connected a little bit to some of that warm weather and the lack of snow. I caught Justin talking about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But we haven't quite seen the snow come in yet. So, what is the impact for our cities and our counties? Normally, we'd be seeing some salt trucks around this time, maybe some plow trucks if we've had a couple of inches. So they haven't quite had to do that yet. So it turns out it means a little bit of savings for some of the cities and some of the counties that I talked to, particularly in the city of Jackson. So they said it's going to be a little bit of a savings this year, not having to get the trucks out quite as early. There's not as much overtime. They might not have to make that extra order of salt that they typically estimate they have to make. So a little bit of a cost savings for them. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that and, hopefully keeping that snow as far away as possible for as long as possible. They were all pretty happy down there to not have to get out there and clean out a couple of inches already. So.
Well, you mentioned that they get to save the cost on the salt, on sending out the salt trucks and even the plow drivers. But then you think of all the people who rely on the snow for their jobs, like plow drivers.
Exactly.
And so, while it's saving the city money, those people who, again, rely on the snow, they're not making that money. So that makes it tricky, too.
There are a lot of local businesses who do snow plowing and maybe do other lawn services during the year, but this winter time period is really major for them, too, that usually they're out there picking up a little bit of extra cash. So there is kind of a win for some groups, a win for some of our municipalities, but there are some losses for people who are, having their own small businesses that operate on things like plowing. They might do private, commercial businesses. They might be hired outside, third party to come in and plow for some businesses. So there is definitely people who are crossing their fingers, hoping for a couple of inches so that they can finally send out their fleets of trucks that have been waiting to get out there and keep that snow out, keep the roads a little bit safer. So.
Yeah, well, what time do you have your story coming up talking about how the city is saving money from this?
Yes, we're going to bring that on at first. I almost said first at 5. It used to be first at 5, and now it's first
We've
at
been
4.
changed, Riley.
I know. I'm still on vacation.
That's
brain.
okay. I know. We need another vacation.
5 p.m. It's going to start off our 90 minutes of news. So make sure that you tune in for Studio 10 coming up, and you should watch First at 4 with News 10's Taylor Gattoni. So stick around for the whole afternoon. We'll be here. So.
We will be here. Thank you, Riley.
All right.
More coming up in News 10 at 5 today. Like Riley was just saying, you can also catch more, of course, coming up today on Studio 10, which is coming up in about 35 minutes here. So you can also catch more of Justin Bradford, Nicole Buckman. They'll be talking about Michigan's win that happened over last night. So make sure to tune in for that. And of course, if you want to check in with Studio 10, this is where you can find them on YouTube. Just search up at WILX Studio 10. You can click on all of their videos. Go back and watch any of the videos and segments that they've had on there. They're posting every single day. When I head in studio, I see them posting. So they really do a great job in updating everyone on all of their recent stories that they've had. And also, if they have any contests or are asking questions, like they're big talkers to the audience, they're really great at posting and getting that out to the community as well on their social media. So go follow at WILX Studio 10 for all of the fun stuff going on around our community. If your New Year's resolution is to get out more in the community, Studio 10 is a perfect place to watch and see, brainstorm some more of those ideas. So again, at WILX Studio 10, that is where you want to tune in. Again, they're coming up today at 3 o'clock. So make sure you get the very latest with them. And of course, talking even more about Michigan football. So congratulations to, of course, all the Wolverines fans out there, and of course to the Michigan football team. I do want to share what we have coming up today. Also during our 90 minutes of news, we have Deanna Giles out in the field who's going to share what she has coming up today, News 10 at 6. Deanna?
Hi, Taylor. A Grand Blanc, Michigan lottery player woke up to some life-changing news today. That person will be claiming the $810 million Powerball jackpot. I'm Deanna Giles, and I met with the store manager who sold that winning ticket, and he shares his excitement. I'll have that story coming up on News 10 at 6. Back to you, Taylor.
All right, thank you, Deanna. And of course, that person, they bought that winning lottery ticket from Grand Blanc, and just waking up on New Year's Day a mega millionaire. So that is incredible, or not New Year's Day, but today rather, finding out that they're a mega millionaire. So just really starting off the year right. I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to win that winning ticket, and I'm one of those who doesn't want to win $800 million. So Deanna's going to have more of that coming up today, News 10 at 6. But to the winner who won all of those millions of dollars, congratulations. Have fun, be smart with it. You know, you do want to enjoy all of that money, but you know, you need to stretch it out over time. You don't want to lose it all either. But not only do we have all of that coming up today during First at 4 Studio 10, our 90 minutes of news, I also want to share one more thing that we've been working on all year long here at News 10, and we'll continue to have it throughout the year, is our You're Not Alone mental health series. So if you go scan that QR code, I know many of you have heard us talk about it throughout 2023, but if you go scan that QR code with your cell phone's camera, it'll pull up a list of resources around the Mid-Michigan community, whether it's connecting you to a counselor, connecting you to a psychotherapist, connecting you to a behavioral therapist, anything of the sort. No matter what you're going through, whether it's anxiety, depression, even having suicidal thoughts, go scan that QR code for more guidance on where you can find those resources around our community, even if it's not for you, if it's for someone else that you may know. Also, you can call or text the number 988. That is the Lifeline chat number. And if you are a veteran, you can press option number 1 on your phone. That will connect you directly to another veteran, and you can share your experience with someone who has gone through something similar and is able to better understand what you've gone through. So again, scan that QR code and know that you're not alone. I do want to give another look outside before we head out here. Taking a live look now outside at Mason, downtown Mason. You're still seeing Santa Claus out and about, of course. This is just over Keene's store downtown. So Santa, man, I'm sure he is wishing for all of the snow, but we are still waiting for all of that. But yes, it's looking pretty good down in Mason right now. You are seeing those blue skies, not as many clouds as you're seeing over in Jackson, which I'll take a live look over that now. Downtown Jackson, you are seeing more of the clouds hanging over in the sky. But of course, Justin Bradford will give you more updates coming up today during Studio 10, followed by First at 4. And then we'll have Andy Provenzano, who will be in for our 90 minutes of news, giving you more updates into your first alert forecast and what you can expect for your first week of 2024. So have a great rest of your week, everyone.